And here we are again. Uh, Today we read chapter 3. Chapter 3 Old Wounds. I swear there's 100 more. Atia Morren gazed at the throng of players pouring in from the road. She had never seen such an attendance to Alamira's birthday. Since the start of the tradition, her ladyship's party had been a happy but predictable affair, with feasting, dancing, games, shows, and merchant booths following the same comfortable pattern each year. What could have caused this? Sapphira marveled, pushing the loose wisp of brown hair from her face and tucking them back into the high coil. There are so many, Asenath murmured beside her, blue eyes wide. I had no idea there would be this many. Well, there never is, Sapphire pointed out, returning her attention to the backdrop they were setting up for some visiting performers. Gripping the rope, she hiked the fabric up on one side, securing it in place while Asenath hiked up the other side. I heard that there would be, Asenath said, dusting off her hands. The rope was appallingly dirty. I heard Hobson talking about the inn filling up. Almost all his rooms are taken. Matthias is to thank, I hear. Frowning, Sapphire handed her sister the end of a second cloth, walking backward with the other. As one, they shook it out, the painted pattern becoming substantially brighter as the dust flew away. Coughing, Sapphire grimaced. This group of actors clearly didn't use their things very often. Matthias? Sneezing, Asenath laughed, waiting until the dust cleared before bringing her in to meet Sapphira's. That's right. Perturbed, Sapphira studied her sister for a moment. 3 years her junior, Asenath had always been the beauty of the family. Well-figured, she was genuinely lovely, with calm blue eyes, rich brown hair, and the purest heart to be found. Kind to everyone, she was nevertheless wise, the ideal character in Sapphira's mind. That hadn't saved her from a bad love story, however. He's coming back, you know, Sapphira commented. Today. Asenath nodded, unruffled as she smiled knowingly at her elder sister. You need not worry for me, Sapphira. It was 4 years ago. Much too long for me to remember such things. Trust me, he'll be just as eager to ignore me as I am to ignore him. Sapphira didn't argue, turning away to tidy up the stray boxes and bags, hiding them behind the stage. So, do you think Atia will be sorry? Asenath asked, changing the subject. Sapphira shrugged, annoyed again by the thought. Not sorry enough that she'll change. This isn't the first time, after all. Why would it be the last? I only hope she's made up for it at home. Nodding, Asenath scanned the green. Aside from the players' stalls, almost everything had been done. Her eyes paused briefly on the platform where the Grimnorse would sit. 4 chairs this year, instead of 3. Matthias was indeed coming home. Perhaps he's already arrived, Asenath thought. Maybe earlier this morning. Atia's here! Mara cried, running up suddenly. At 7 years old, she was the youngest sister, with a happy face and brown hair. And Elise, and Mavea. Are they indeed? Sapphire mused, face darkening, arms folding, eyes turning to where Mara pointed. There, coming along one of the many forest trails and emerging from the trees, was their small wagon and pony, led by Elise and Mavea, and followed by Atia. Patience, Asenath whispered to her elder sister, fighting back a grin. The wagon stopped on the edge of the green, still under the dappled shade of the leafy branches. Unloading the twins and setting them on their feet, Elise and Mavea approached with a flower basket on either arm. Atia trailed behind with the last, face a bit red. Glad you can make it, Atia, Sapphira said, words sarcastic but tone deadly. Wincing, Atia deliberated. I can't explain. No need. I can already guess. I've heard it 1,000 times. I'm sorry, Atia exclaimed. I am. Sapphira gazed at her sternly for a moment, then sighed and shook her head, reaching for one of Elise's baskets. Ready to start, then? Ready, Elise smiled. Mavea, do you have the ribbon? The 15-year-old produced a spool from her apron pocket. Let's do it over here. Sapphira led her family to the shade of a maple tree. Settling down, the sisters worked quietly for a while, sharing the many blooms as they crafted the ordered bouquets. Mara keeping watch over the twins nearby, their bubbly voices echoing across the green and mingling with the chirps of the birds overhead. Sapphira chuckled. Nice, looks more like Arthen every day. Acts like him too, Elise replied, smiling. Beastly. Mavea and Asenath laughed. Atia laughed too, but less heartily, mind already wandering as she matched blossoms together. The players and the merchants were still busy and would likely remain so until late afternoon, setting up their stages and wares for tomorrow's affair. Though there seemed to be more than usual, many were still the same, and as Atia watched in bored fascination, she wondered silently if these and the folk from the nearby villages were the only people from beyond the basin that she'd ever see. It seemed wrong that they would be. After all, the time would come when she'd strike out on her own. They couldn't all stay on the farm forever, and Atia highly doubted there was anyone in Chestel who could hold her fancy long enough to persuade her to stay. In 3 years, she'd be 20, which was certainly old enough to live on her own. All done, then? Safari asked, interrupting Atia's scheming. With a start, the young woman glanced around, realizing the others had already finished. Hastily, she finished her bunch, adding the remaining flowers and tying the stems with ribbon. This is the sweetest tradition of them all, Aseneth giggled, setting her final bouquet down with the rest. I wish I could see Alamira's face when Sir Grimnor gives her these. We should probably send them right away. Didn't he want them before noon? Yes, he did. Safari got to her feet, thrusting a loose hairpin back into her bun. I'll take them. You brought the water canisters, right, Elise? In the wagon. May I come? Mavea sat up eagerly. Atia covertly rolled her eyes. Mavea took whatever chance she could to see Loma. Now that was a friendship Atia would never understand. Sapphira shrugged, gathering up 2 baskets. Why not? Let's get these bouquets into water. At dusk, people sprang from thin air and strolled the once deserted streets. The inn became more populated. Sitting at his table, Dethar eyed the bursting room with perplexity. So Chestel was not a ghost town after all. The innkeeper had appeared, putting to rest Dethar's fears of the inn being a female-run establishment, though the woman's husband didn't seem altogether bright anyway. Dethar had learned their names by now. Houghton was the innkeeper and his wife was Tamilda. Their daughter Leanne was waiting tables. She seemed a bit of a weakling, panting heavily as she rushed back and forth. Refreshed from his languid afternoon, Dethar stayed at his table long after finishing his meal, enjoying the flickering candlelight while he waited for the bits and pieces of gossip to form a cohesive narrative. Several of the customers were not locals. He picked that out quickly. He found no real explanation for Chestel's behavior, however, until almost everyone had either gone home or gone upstairs to their rooms. A man entered the taverns, sporting 2 metal pauldrons, I assume I'm pronouncing that right, and in a blue tunic, appliqué with a brown falcon. Fabian! Houghton cried. Come in, man, take a seat. Evening, Houghton. The soldier smiled. He looked middle-aged, with brittle brown hair and large arms. He took a seat at the table the innkeeper was scrubbing. How go the preparations? Fine, just fine. Everything's ready. Tamilda and Leanne have been here all day, working on our addition to Our Lady's birthday lunch. Tamilda's fixed those cherry pies of hers. Lady Alamira took the time to compliment her again last year. We wouldn't dare show our faces tomorrow without them. There was no hiding the pride in Houghton's voice. Fabian grinned. I just hope you told her to fix more than usual. Her ladyship wasn't the only one who enjoys them. You were not at the Green, Houghton observed. Busy at the barracks, I suppose. Shame. Tamilda gravitated from the bar and handed their guest a mug. Tell me, husband, how do the floral arrangements go around the platform look? I heard the Morrens would be helping again this year, and they have the prettiest flower garden, not to mention one of the largest. Dethar waved his finger back and forth through his candle flame, and wondered briefly if setting the tavern on fire would be amusing enough to attempt. Ah, yes, the flowers look better than ever, Houghton exclaimed. I say those Morren girls have really pulled through it all. How many years has it been since their parents died? 5, 6? 5 years, 6? In addition to Arthen Brightscar, of course. How long since his death? Dethar's finger froze mid-flame. 3 years, Tamilda said sadly. Poor man, and at such a young age, too. He was hardly 23. Fabian nodded, rubbing his bristly chin. Hard to expect much else of a wanderer, though. Had he heard right? Dethar took his finger away, unharmed. Well, his sons will carry on his good name, Houghton said. Brightscar. An interesting name to own. Those boys will be soldiers, just you wait. Soldiers, Tamilda cried. Fabian laughed. Aye, with a name like that, they should be, Houghton. I wonder how Arthen came by it. Guess he was a wanderer, though. Probably not a proper family name, at any rate. Dethar's mind was racing. Arthen Brightscar. What a strange twist of fate that he should stumble upon the hometown of his most hated enemy. That man had done more to hinder his work than anyone. Dethar wasn't sure how, but Arthen had seemed to know everything about him, from what he was, to where he was, to what he meant to do. Dethar had tried to catch him, and Arthen had tried to catch Dethar, but somehow they always missed each other, and men never managed to defeat one another in battle. Arthen had disappeared suddenly, however, and until now, Dethar hadn't known what had become of him. Dead? So that's how you managed to escape my grasp. You'll rue the day when peace came to you, leaving your family open to my whims. A bitter glee filled his heart as he listened eagerly for more. Will the sisters be there tomorrow? Fabian asked. After all the work they put in? Of course, Houghton cried. I expect they'll be there for the whole affair. Dancing, eating, speeches, everything. This year will prove more exciting than the rest, I expect, Fabian said. What with the extra players from the Rathmore. We'll see what their take on the song is like. I've heard the Heckfects have a unique interpretation. Such a shame Matthias had to turn out bad. Houghton lowered his voice discreetly. He was the one to arrange it, you know. Wanted to make his mother's birthday extra special. The general assumption is it's because he's been away for so long. A real shame indeed. He was such a fine lad to begin with. Or so we thought, Tamila said boldly. Who knows how many girls this shameless boy enjoyed? Imagine! Having a child out of wedlock. He's a houseman. Young or not, a noble should know better. And where is the mother now? Sent off in humiliation to support their child alone, no doubt. Drops her like the spoiled noble he is, and then turns around and expects the Sanus to marry him? Of all the pig-headed... Tamila, please! Houghton interrupted, cringing apologetically at Fabian. The soldier shrugged and grimaced. I won't speak ill of the noble family, but his being there tomorrow is why I wondered if the Morrens would come. We can only hope the young man has learned better. The housemen are beacons of principle. He couldn't go to school amongst his peers and not reform. Satisfied that there was nothing of worth left to hear, Dethar dropped a few coins on the table, payment for his dinner, and then headed to his room, already planning his vindictive scheme. And that's the end of that chapter. Thanks for watching. Well, I tried again to figure out how to turn it off.